Let me ask you something. What if your government ran its finances the way someone might run up a credit card? Not borrowing to invest in something for the future, but just to keep the lights on today. It's a pretty unsettling thought, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into what that actually looks like, and more importantly, how you can spot the warning signs. Just let that sink in for a second. It's really the difference between taking out a student loan for a degree that's going to boost your future income versus, say, maxing out your credit card on groceries because you've run out of cash before your next paycheck. One is an investment in your future. The other, well, that's just digging a deeper hole. So, is this what's happening? It's a serious question, and finding the answer starts with a pretty simple but really dangerous concept we're about to get into. Okay, first up, credit card governance. It sounds kind of catchy, but it's really just a simple way to describe a very, very dangerous financial habit that governments can easily fall into. Think about it like this. A family brings in $50,000 a month, but they're spending $55,000 on just day-to-day stuff. That extra $5,000 has to come from somewhere, right? So they take out a loan. Some governments do the exact same thing. They borrow money just to pay for the regular operational expenses. Now, maybe there are political reasons, like they don't want to raise taxes, or maybe the economy's in a downturn, but no matter the reason, it is just not sustainable. You can't do it forever. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. Not all debt is bad debt. There is a world of difference between borrowing to build something and borrowing just to spend. Let's break this down, because this is the whole game right here. On one side, you've got capital borrowing. This is the good stuff. This is debt you take on to build real assets, things like roads, schools, hospitals that are going to benefit people for decades. Future generations might help pay it off, but they also get to use the stuff that was built. That seems fair, right? But then, you've got the other side, revenue borrowing. This is borrowing money to pay for today's costs, like salaries and subsidies. What does it leave behind for the future? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, except the bill. And look, this isn't just some nice-to-have idea. It's a core principle of sound public finance. Experts call it the golden rule. It's simple. You borrow to invest, you don't borrow to consume. Period. So, the big question is, how can we, you and me, as citizens, tell if this golden rule is being broken? Well, it turns out there are some very clear red flags to look for. Think of this next part as your own personal fiscal detective kit. Here they are, the 4 big ones. First, a rising revenue deficit. That just means your regular income isn't enough to cover your regular bills. Simple. Second, when the amount of money being borrowed is way more than what's actually being spent on building new things. Third, when you see that the slice of the budget pie going towards building for the future keeps getting smaller and smaller. And finally, the most dangerous sign of all, and this is a huge one, when the government starts borrowing new money just to pay the interest on its old debts. That, my friends, is the textbook definition of a debt trap. Let's just zoom in on red flag number 2 for a second, because it's usually the easiest one to spot. So imagine a government borrows, say, 1,000 crore, and they announce it's all for new roads and bridges. Great. But then you dig into the actual numbers and see that only 600 crore was actually spent on new projects, which leads to a massive, pretty awkward question: where did the rest of it go? That's right, that missing 400 crore, it wasn't invested. It was consumed. It was used to fill the hole in the daily budget, to pay salaries, to cover subsidies. It's borrowed money that just vanished into thin air, leaving nothing of value behind except for the debt itself. Now, I know this can sound like some abstract accounting problem, but believe me, it has a very real, very human cost. So, when this kind of mismanagement happens, who is it that actually ends up paying the price? This just says it all, doesn't it? It's not some clever accounting trick. It's a direct trade-off. We are literally taking the money meant to build the future and just burning through it to fund today's expenses. And the consequences of this debt pileup are crystal clear. I mean, look at this. The benefits are all right now, in the short term. Officials get their salaries, pensioners get their checks, politicians get to fund their budgets without having to make the unpopular choice of raising taxes. But all of that pain, it gets kicked down the road. Future taxpayers, they're going to face higher taxes. Future citizens, they're going to get fewer services. And future generations, they're the ones who will inherit the crushing weight of all this debt. Let's just call it what it is. When you take from the future to pay for the present, there's a word for that. It's theft. It's just cleverly disguised in complex budget documents. Okay, so understanding the problem is the first step, but the next step, the really powerful one, is actually doing something about it. So what can we do? The situation isn't hopeless. Far from it. Here's what we can do. We can demand clear, transparent budgets that anyone can understand. We can push for fiscal responsibility laws to be taken seriously and strictly enforced. We can form our own citizen groups to analyze these budgets and then shout our findings from the rooftops. We have to make this an election issue. Ask every single candidate where they stand. And we need to get young people involved with a simple, powerful message. Stop spending our future to pay for your present. At the end of the day, credit card governance isn't just bad accounting. It's a moral failure. The tools to see it for what it is are right here, in your hands. The path to demanding accountability is clear. The only question left is, are we going to walk it?